Hello, everyone, and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Hammond. We're live in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. And over the next few minutes, we'll take you from the United States and around the world, covering all the top stories of the day. But before that, here's a look at the latest headlines. India and the Philippines sign a series of security deals aimed at strengthening their strategic partnership as New Delhi and Manila navigate Beijing's growing footprint in the Indo-Pacific region. Japan clinches a landmark $6.5 billion deal to build warships for Australia, marking its biggest military export since lifting a decades-long ban on weapons creation in 2014, as Tokyo edges away from post-war pacifism to counter China's rise. Thailand says it will spend $572 million on stimulus measures to support the economy as it braces for the impact of a 19% tariff on all imported goods imposed by the United States. A Moldovan court sentences a pro-Kremlin regional leader to 7 years in prison for funneling money from Russia to finance a now banned political party between 2019 and 2022. And Ethiopia asked its citizens to avoid traveling on irregular routes 2 days after a boat carrying mostly Ethiopian migrants sank off Yemen, killing at least 76 and leaving dozens missing. We begin here in Washington, where President Donald Trump has once again threatened India with higher tariffs. In a post on Truth Social on Monday, the president said he would raise tariffs on Indian goods from the current 25% over New Delhi's continued purchase of Russian oil. He claimed India was buying massive amounts of Russian oil and then allegedly reselling it for big profits. The president then took it a step further, accusing New Delhi of not caring about the number of people being killed by the Russian war machine in Ukraine. However, the president did not specify what new tariff levels India could face. In a statement late Monday, New Delhi hit back at the U.S. and the European Union, calling out their hypocrisy. The Indian government said that America's targeting of India was quote-unquote unjustified and unreasonable.
India has been targeted by the United States and the European Union for importing oil from Russia after the commencement of the Ukraine conflict. In fact, India began importing from Russia because traditional supplies were diverted to Europe after the outbreak of the conflict.
New Delhi also pointed out that not only did Washington encourage such trade previously, but both the European Union and the United States were continuing to actively trade with Russia in excess of the amount that India does. New Delhi says the U.S. was continuing to import uranium hexafluoride, important for its nuclear industry, palladium for its electric vehicle industry, as well as fertilizers and chemicals from Russia. Official U.S. data has shown that goods and services trade with Russia totaled an estimated $5.2 billion last year. New Delhi also hit out at the European Union for double standards, citing 67.5 billion euros, or roughly $70 billion in bilateral trade with Moscow last year. India also noted that European imports of liquefied natural gas reached 16.5 million tons in 2024, surpassing the last record of 15.21 tons in 2022.
India's imports are meant to ensure predictable and affordable energy costs to the Indian consumer. It is revealing that the very nations criticizing India are themselves indulging in trade with Russia.
India's statement came just days after the European Union exempted Kazakhstan to export coal through Russian ports despite sanctions on Moscow. Europe and Russia have reportedly continued to trade not just in energy, but also in fertilizers, nickel, as well as iron and steel. Meanwhile, back in the United States, President Trump's post sparked calls from Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene to end Indian H-1B visas, blaming them for taking American jobs. Senator Lindsey Graham also lauded the president's efforts to end a bloodbath in Ukraine, which Donald Trump had promised to end in the first 24 hours of his second term, but has so far been unsuccessful at ending. However, Russia criticized President Trump's decision to raise tariffs on India, and the Kremlin called U.S. efforts to force countries to sever trading relations with Moscow illegitimate and stressed that sovereign countries have the right to choose their own trading partners. So far, India has committed to take all necessary measures to safeguard its national interests and economic security. And now Washington and New Delhi are locked in a game of chicken, and only time will tell which side will blink first. And staying in Washington, the U.S. Justice Department has launched a federal grand jury investigation targeting top officials from the Obama administration based on allegations that they conspired to fabricate a scandal linking President Donald Trump to Russia during the 2016 presidential election. Former CIA Director John Brennan, ex-FBI Director James Comey, and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper are reportedly at the center of the investigation. Now, reports suggest criminal charges could follow if the grand jury finds wrongdoing. However, it remains unclear where the jury will convene and what exact charges may in fact be considered.
Following the compelling case outlined by DNI Tulsi Gabbard, which exposed clear and blatant weaponization by corrupt intelligence officials acting at the behest of the Democrat Party and likely former President Obama, the administration remains committed to conducting a thorough investigation.
The investigation also follows the origins of Crossfire Hurricane, the FBI's counterintelligence probe into President Trump's 2016 campaign. Now, Donald Trump has long claimed the investigation was a politically motivated attack aimed at derailing his presidency. Although he admits that former President Barack Obama is likely protected from prosecution due to a 2024 Supreme Court ruling, Trump, however, is directly accusing the former president of leading a treasonous conspiracy.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true.
And now, amid all the legalities, an email from former CIA Director John Brennan is also under scrutiny. In May of 2023, he told Congress that the CIA opposed the controversial Steele dossier funded by the Clinton campaign and Democratic National Committee in a key intelligence report. However, earlier documents show he supported its inclusion, raising concerns of possible perjury. Former FBI Chief James Comey is also under investigation, both for allegedly lying to Congress in 2017 and for posting a cryptic image on social media that was interpreted as a threat towards President Trump. Attorney General Bondi has ordered a federal prosecutor to begin presenting evidence to a grand jury, but the scope, location, and timeline remain unclear. Now, the investigation has drawn sharp criticism. Some former national security officials called it a dangerous political stunt, while Democrats have accused Trump of abusing his power to seek revenge and distract from issues like the ongoing Epstein investigation. But despite past findings, President Trump continues to portray his rivals as criminals, and he recently shared an AI-generated video showing Obama being arrested in the Oval Office. In fact, in a recent interview, the president also said, quote, "I let Hillary off the hook, and then they did the same thing to me. Now it's time they pay a price," end quote. And as the grand jury gears up, the nation watches, waiting to see whether these explosive claims lead to real consequences or more political spectacle in America's long-running political drama. A sacred flame sparked more than just tradition at a Texas home. It lit up a cultural firestorm online as an Indian family performed a traditional Hindu prayer ritual during their housewarming. Smoke drifted into the neighborhood, prompting a visit from local firefighters. The video of their unexpected arrival went viral on social media, setting off a wave of reactions. What began as a moment of faith quickly turned into a debate over fire safety, cultural expression, and the thin line between ritual and regulation. Here's the story with more.
In a quiet Texas neighborhood, a family was performing a peaceful religious ritual. Inside their garage, suddenly they heard sirens wailing outside. Assuming there was something wrong in the neighborhood, They continued the rituals, but were surprised to see a fire truck right outside their own house. So, was there a fire? Yes, but an accident or a mishap? No. The family was actually performing a traditional Hindu ritual. It's called a Havan in Hindi, a sacred fire ceremony performed during special occasions. For this family, it was housewarming. To someone outside, it looked like smoke from a blaze, and so the neighbors called the fire department. The video, now viral on social media, shows firefighters walking into what appears to be a religious gathering. Take a look. There's no panic, no flames out of control, just incense, chants, and a small sacred fire. The caption on the video reads, "Cultural Misunderstanding 101, when tradition sparks concern." The video, shared in a light-hearted context, has triggered an online debate. One side says it's just a religious practice, carried out peacefully inside someone's own home. The other side asks, what about fire safety? Shouldn't there be some rules when rituals involve open flames? And some users online were furious. Some say this is dangerous and cannot be done inside wooden homes, while others provide solutions, like informing the fire department beforehand and obtaining a permit. The voices in defense say that the people were just praying and not hurting anyone. They questioned barbecue smoke in garages and how no one complains about it. The firefighters from the Bedford Fire Department were seen speaking to the family soon after arriving at the location. But it's still unclear whether any action was taken against the family or if they broke any local safety rules. This wasn't just about smoke. It's also about visibility. Traditions that are normal in one part of the world may be misunderstood in another. It's about what happens when tradition meets perception, when cultural identity clashes with community rules. Can they coexist? Certainly, but maintaining that balance would require equal effort from both sides.
Tesla has announced a massive pay package for CEO Elon Musk, a $29 billion interim compensation award. In a filing released on Monday, Tesla said it will grant Musk 96 million shares valued at nearly $29 billion as a good faith move to retain him during a strategic shift towards artificial intelligence, robotaxis, and humanoid robots. The EV maker said the decision was recommended by a special committee comprising Chair Robin Denham and Director Kathleen Wilson-Thompson, and then approved by the full board.
Retaining Elon is more important than ever before. Today, Tesla is at a critical inflection point. To succeed, IT requires a leader who combines strategic foresight, adaptability, and relentless execution to outperform competition and inspire the team. Elon has demonstrated these unmatched leadership abilities time and time again.
Now, the board, which a few months ago had allegedly opened a search for a CEO to succeed the tech billionaire, further said losing Musk would mean losing not just his skill set, but a leader who they claim helps attract and retain top talent.
It is imperative to retain and motivate our extraordinary talent, beginning with Elon. We are confident that this award will incentivize Elon to remain at Tesla and focus his unmatched leadership abilities on further creating shareholder value for shareholders.
The package comes as Tesla continues to appeal a Delaware court ruling which struck down Musk's 2018 pay deal worth $55.8 billion, calling it excessive and unfair to shareholders. Tesla says the interim award would be forfeited if that older package is in fact reinstated. Furthermore, the company said that Musk would also need to remain in a top executive role for 2 more years to be eligible for the new compensation.
If the Delaware courts fully reinstate the 2018 CEO Performance Award, this interim award will be forfeited or returned, or a portion of the 2018 CEO Performance Award will be forfeited. To put it simply, there cannot be any double dip.
Now, let's put this package into perspective. It comes amid growing concerns that Musk's focus is allegedly split between Tesla and his other companies, including XAI, SpaceX, Neuralink, and the Boring Company. And it also follows a period of public backlash after Musk's political alignment with Donald Trump. A new report by Reuters revealed that the EV maker's brand loyalty plunged since last summer after Musk endorsed Donald Trump. The report suggested that Tesla's customer loyalty peaked in June of last year when 73% of Tesla-owning households that were in the market for a new car bought another Tesla. But that brand loyalty allegedly started to nosedive in July of last year. Sales in key markets like Europe and the U.S. also fell, while competition from rivals, including Chinese EV companies, continues to rise. Tesla's only new model since 2020, the Cybertruck, has also struggled to meet expectations. In fact, the Trump administration has also decided to eliminate subsidies for electric vehicle purchases that have benefited Tesla. In a warning last month, Musk said Tesla could face a few rough quarters ahead before a wave of revenue from its self-driving software and services begins late next year. For now, Tesla's board appears to be sending a clear signal that Musk remains central to its future strategy. A full long-term CEO pay plan is expected to be put to a shareholder vote on November 6. But with $29 billion deal, this $29 billion deal is just the first step as the company tries to navigate a tough phase of slowing car sales, falling loyalty, and a CEO who's never, ever far from controversy. And finally, a denim ad has spun into a national debate after President Donald Trump publicly praised actress Sydney Sweeney's latest American Eagle campaign, calling it the hottest ad out there. The ad's pun, great jeans or jeans with a G, has sparked backlash, with critics accusing it of promoting coded messages about race and beauty. But President Trump's full-throated endorsement, paired with his renewed attack on Taylor Swift, only intensified the debate. While the brand insists the message is about confidence and style, the internet isn't buying it, or maybe buying too much of it. Our final report has the latest.
Donald Trump just did what he does best. Took a fashion ad, added fire, and lit up the internet. It started on a tarmac in Allentown, Pennsylvania, as Trump prepared to board his plane back to the White House from his Bedminster weekend. A reporter mentioned that actress Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, and Trump's eyes lit up.
Sydney Sweeney, she's like a very hot actress right now.
She's a registered Republican?
Yes.
Oh, now I love her ad. Is that right? Is Sydney Sweeney? You'd be surprised at how many people are Republicans. That's what I wouldn't have known, but I'm glad you told me that. If Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, I think her ad is fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
But that wasn't it. By the time he reached home, he was on Truth Social, with the full Trump flair locked and loaded. Sydney Sweeney, a registered Republican, has the hottest ad out there. It's for American Eagle, and the jeans are flying off the shelves. Go get 'em, Sydney. That was his Truth Social post on Monday morning. A denim endorsement? Not quite. It was a political grenade wrapped in stretchy cotton. At first glance, it sounds like typical Trump flair. Bold, boastful, and weirdly obsessed with someone else's pants. But behind those 10 words was a campaign, already sinking into controversy. The ad he is talking about features Sweeney in a pair of American Eagle jeans, flashing her signature smile and saying, "Jeans are passed down from parents to offspring. My jeans are blue."
My jeans are blue.
You see where this is going. The tagline, "Sydney Sweeney has great jeans," was a pun, a cute play on words. Except many didn't find it cute. In fact, they found it chilling. Social media exploded with criticism. A blonde, blue-eyed woman praising her great jeans? That didn't sit well with audiences, who read it as flirting with eugenics-era language. In fact, some even called it fashion's most accidental white supremacist wink. And others said the outrage was nonsense. But the internet wasn't done unpacking. And then came the plot twist. BuzzFeed reported that Sweeney has been a registered Republican since 2024. That revelation flipped the script, and none other than President Donald Trump pounced. From the sidelines to the center, he declared her the poster girl for patriotic beauty, and as always, he couldn't resist dragging someone else down. on his way up. Enter Taylor Swift. Just look at woke singer Taylor Swift, he snarled. Ever since I said I hate her, she's no longer hot. But this isn't new, and definitely not a secret. Trump has a long history of bizarrely attacking Swift. He hated her since she endorsed Democrat Phil Bredesen in 2018. Then her support for Kamala Harris in 2024 only escalated his rage, and in his mind, Swift lost her sparkle the second she got political, or rather, got the wrong kind of political. However, amid the backlash and the Great Jean celebration, American Eagle has since attempted to calm the storm. It's always been about the jeans they posted, trying to pull the focus back to the denim. But let's be honest, the narrative was no longer theirs. Even Sweeney hasn't commented, Swift hasn't fired back, and the brand is riding a wave of chaos, controversy, and viral visibility. But as jeans fly off the shelves and comments section burns, you have to wonder, was this all accidental, or was the culture war stitched right into the seams?
That's our show for today. From all of us here at Firstpost America, we certainly thank all of you for taking time out to join us. We look forward to seeing you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks again, everyone, for watching.